Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched The Girl in the Spider's Web, which is directed by Fede Alvarez, who is the director behind the entertaining Don't Breathe and the Evil Dead remake, which I actually haven't seen. Here he's adapting the fourth book in the Millennium series, which was not written by Stieg Larsson, who wrote the original trilogy, which has already been made into a set of films in its native Sweden, which I own and enjoy. I'm not sure I really enjoy these films, but they are certainly entertaining. And of course, David Fincher then went on to do the American remake. And I've heard a few people say that it's a glossy remake. It's got better production values for sure, but glossy is not something I'd associate with this film. This latest film picks up with Lisbeth Salander, who's still dishing out her own brand of justice to corrupt officials and business tycoons, hurting men who hurt women, when one day she takes on a new assignment that puts her on a collision course with a ruthless criminal organisation called the Spider and a character from her past. Yeah, it's her sister, which isn't a spoiler because it's revealed in the trailer, which also showed us that they were taking this movie in a more action-focused direction, which wasn't something that I agreed with, but I was prepared for going in. I was interested in seeing this one because I think Lisbeth Salander is the best character we've seen on the silver screen for a long time, and I do love Rooney Mara's interpretation of the character and Noomi Rapace's version as well. And I liked Claire Foy's portrayal of her, just not as much as the others, but then their performances are in films that better understand the character. Like I said, this film is much more action focused and she's jumping around like a super spy. There are some Jason Bourne-esque fight scenes which are quite hard to follow, and some of the action set pieces do have a lot of flair to them, but they really do stretch the levels of believability. And unfortunately it doesn't stop there. The hacking aspect of Lisbeth Salander is also greatly exaggerated and Hollywoodized. If you compare it to the original films, whenever Lisbeth is hacking someone, it's always someone's like personal computer and she's getting around their encryptions to find out their secrets. Whereas in this, she's hacking like security systems at airports, and she's able to hack a car whilst driving another car whilst using her phone. It's just not grounded in reality anymore. And that's highlighted towards the end of the film when they're hacking this building, they're trying to get into it, and it's got this like, it's like the Dark Knight when Morgan Freeman's character gives Bruce Wayne the phones with the sonar inspired by a submarine, Mr. Wayne. That sort of happens in this, but without the explanation. It's just like, what? Plot-wise, the film mostly revolves around an app called Firefall, which has the ability to control all the nuclear missiles in the world, which is about as believable as Stephen Merchant's performance as the science buff who invented it, and even less convincing is his portrayal as a dad to this kid who I wasn't impressed with either. I mean, it's not very smart. If you're going to put a failsafe into something that important, why would you put your kid as the key to it? It just doesn't really make sense. Then you've got Lakeith Stanfield's character who's playing this NSA agent who goes after Salander because she's got the technology. At first, when we meet him, I thought his character was going to play out like the Jason Bourne assets. He's going to go out and just kill her. But then it's revealed that he's actually a hacker or a former hacker. It's like, just because you're a hacker, does that mean you're also a super spy as well? It felt like his character's inclusion was only there to bring America into the fold, when I prefer to think of this as a European-based set of films. I wish maybe they cut his character to then free up room to focus on Mikael Blomkvist's character, who does return in this, and I can't pronounce the actor who plays him. He was the guy who played Borg in the Borg McEnroe film recently. I wasn't impressed with him either. I thought his character was very bland. I wasn't feeling the chemistry between him and Salander, which this film is relying on your knowledge of their fragile relationships from the previous films, although I did like the way it wraps it up, even if it is a bit reminiscent of the ending in Daredevil, the Ben Affleck Daredevil. But that's what's so disappointing about this film. It's trying to be a continuation of the grimy, seedy, filthy underworld that the other films have set up, but tonally it's just completely different. You can literally see the Hollywood machine cogs turning, and because of that, because I wasn't really invested in its story, I started picking up on so many other things that really bugged me. Like, I picked up on quite a lot of continuity errors in this. Like, if you keep an eye out on a couple of the action driving scenes, you can see the tyre tracks from where they've obviously rehearsed it earlier on. There's a bit when someone falls off a cliff into some fog, but then in the next scene the fog just isn't there. And of course, because this is a Sony production, you get the obligatory Sony product placements, but then other product placements which don't really make any sense at all. I mean, if you're a character which is being hunted by all of these different people who are trying to kill you, surely you want to be inconspicuous. So then why would you then steal a Lamborghini Aventador? It just doesn't really make sense and pretty much sums up this movie. So that's my thoughts on The Girl in the Spider's Web, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. If you take this film for what it is, an action spy movie, then yeah, it's okay. It's pretty generic, but it's okay. But because it's part of the other films and it's clearly relying on those other films, I'm sure if you've seen them, you're going to be disappointed with this, like me. And if anything, it just made me wish that David Fincher could have continued what he'd started. But then I guess we have got the original Swedish versions to watch, so there you go. So thanks very much for watching this review. I really do appreciate it. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought down in the comments. And as always, thanks very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like and don't forget to share the Lave. Hey, hey.